What's up, guys? This is Alec. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about working for property managers versus working for homeowners. Is there a difference? Is one better than another? Well, let's go ahead and talk about it. Alright, guys, so I'm going to break it down into pros and cons to make it easier for you to understand what the differences are, because I think that will actually clear up a lot of the misconceptions between working for homeowners and property managers. And I want to give a shout out to my boy out there, the Bulletproof Handyman. He's the one that came up with this idea, and well, this is the main reason why I'm making this video. Alright, guys, let's get started with working for property managers. Pro number one, you can get a lot of work. Most property managers out there take care of more than one house. And guess what? Houses break down all the time, so they can send you a lot of work. Pro number two, very easy work. Why do I mean by easy work? Well, you have to understand a lot of the service calls that you get from property managers is going to be simple stuff. Faucet replacements, ceiling fan replacements, blinds specifically, toilets all the time, and painting. Yes, very simple stuff you can get done in a matter of hours and you are good to go. Why is it mainly easy work? Well, it is easy work because you have to understand, these are rental units. People come in and out all the time, and people do not treat rental units as they would their own houses. So stuff breaks all the time. And the stuff that breaks is usually, most times, easy stuff to fix. Pro number three, most tenants out there do not care what the work looks like. Neither does a property manager, neither does a homeowner. So usually, anytime that I get a service call from a property manager, well, it's an easy day for me. Because I don't have anybody hanging over my shoulder. I don't have anybody checking my work. And usually, I just get it done. I don't have that pressure of perfection. So it's just usually very easy work on top of that. So now, I'm not saying that I don't do good work in rental units, because I do. But the pressure of being perfect 100%, because I know the homeowner is going to be inspecting that work, it's not there. So in my opinion, that's a pro. Pro number four, a lot of these rental units, usually property managers take care of houses in a specific location. So when you get service calls, normally most of them are going to be within the same area. So you're not going to be driving around all over the place, because most rental units are usually in close proximity. Alright, guys, so let's talk about the cons. Con number one, most property managers out there, you're not going to be able to get top dollar for your work. So you have to understand, most of the rentals out there usually are from homeowners who lived in that property previously, and they had to move out for one reason or another. These people did not get into the rental business on purpose. So they're cheap. Yes, they're looking for the cheapest price, and that mentality transfers over to the property manager. Because whatever work that happens at that property, it has to get approved by the homeowner. The homeowner is not there to see what's wrong with the house. They're not there to experience, to feel anything. So for them, it's just a problem. And in bigger cities, especially, you're gonna find somebody that's gonna do it cheaper, always, than you will. Is that a good thing? Is that a bad thing? I don't know. In my experience as a landlord, because I have a rental unit, it's not a good thing. So, yes, you're not going to be able to get top dollar for your work, especially from property managers, especially in bigger cities, because there's always out there somebody else that can do it cheaper than you can. Con number two, net 30. This is something that most people don't talk about. You have to understand, most of the money that property managers are going to use to pay you with comes from the rent. And rent is due at the beginning of the month. So when you do work, most property managers out there are not going to pay you until the following month. Yes, you didn't know that, did you? Yes, most property managers out there, especially for routine work, are not going to pay you until the following month. So if you just did work and you missed the cutoff for that month, you have to wait a whole new month to get paid. Is that a good thing? Is that a bad thing? Well, I can tell you, if you live paycheck to paycheck, it's not a good thing. Also, if you have to buy materials, and it adds up over the month. It could be a few $100s to several $1,000s. You have to wait a whole month to get paid. That's one that I learned the hard way because I did not know. And that's one you have to actually be careful too, especially if you're working for somebody new. You have to make sure that they're an actual company, make sure they're not gonna rip you off. So keep that in mind if you wanna work for property managers. Con number 3. Every little work, extra work that was not originally in the service call has to get approved by the property manager. Yes. So if you got called in to replace blinds and then there's a leak somewhere, well, guess what? You gotta call the property manager, then they gotta get a hold of the homeowner, then you gotta wait to get approval, or you gotta tell the tenant, hey dude, you're gonna have to call in and then tell them what's up, and I'll come back another day. If you have to wait, guess what? That is time wasted, and time is money. So, con number 4. It is very hard to give an accurate estimate for service calls because a lot of the times you're going to have limited information. So a lot of the work that I do, my customers know exactly how much I'm going to charge, or at least a price range before I even show up to their houses. But from property managers, if you get a phone call and you're like, hey, and they're like, hey, the toilet's leaking, go fix it. How can you estimate that? It's very hard to do. You can give them a price range, and a lot of the times you won't be able to talk to the tenant. So you got to show up and hope that it's an easy repair. Sometimes it is, a lot of the times it's not. You may show up and then the toilet's leaking. Then you got to rebuild the toilet. Maybe the wax seal needs to be replaced. Maybe the water supply line is leaking. Maybe the shadow valve's leaking. Maybe everything is leaking. Then guess what? You got to call the property manager, and then you got to tell them, hey dude, this is a lot more work than expected. They got to get a hold of the homeowner, and then meanwhile you're waiting there, wasting your time. So that's one of the things I do not like about service calls, because it's very hard to give them an accurate estimate. Usually, when I deal with customers like that, I always give them a high number, expecting the worst. But if you use that same technique with property managers, guess what they're gonna do? They're gonna skip you and they're gonna go to the cheapest guy. And guess what the cheapest guy is gonna do? Yeah, they're gonna give them a cheaper price. Then they're gonna show up to that property and they're gonna just hack it. They're gonna do crappy work, just good enough to get paid. Is the property manager gonna care? No. Is the homeowner going to care? No. Is the tenant going to care? No, because they don't check. Nobody's there to check your work. But if you own property and you have somebody like that working at your property, well, you got what you pay for. Con number 5. A lot of homeowners, a lot of property managers, especially when you show up to fix something and you give them a higher price because something else is broken, it's just part of the business. They're gonna think you're ripping them off, because most handymen out there are not honest like us, and that is a problem. So like the bathroom experience, you show up and then the drywall, it's rotting away because it's been leaking for months. The subfloor needs to be replaced because it's completely about to fall apart. And then a job that would have cost, $150 turned into, $2,000-$3,000. Most property managers and homeowners are gonna think that you're ripping them off. And all you're doing is just being honest and trying to do good work, because that's what we handymen do. And that's the reason why we started this YouTube channel. But unfortunately, that is not the business out there. Those are my experiences from working for property managers. All right, guys, let's talk about homeowner side. Pro number 1. Yes, there are homeowners that are cheap, but guess what? There are also homeowners out there that are not cheap. And that is the type of homeowner you want to work for. And the good thing about that is, well, you can vet who you want to work for. So when somebody calls me, hey, I want to replace this toilet, boom, $150 right there. Oh, the shower valves need to be replaced as well, that's $75 each. Oh, you need drywall repair? Well, send me a picture. Boom, that's an extra $300. And I can do that within 5 minutes, and all I need is just one picture. And guess what? That's gonna weed out all the cheap homeowners out there. If somebody starts getting palpitations from my prices, well, they can go somewhere else and find somebody else, because those are not the people I want to work for. Because those people are going to be the ones looking over your shoulder. They're going to be nitpicking everything, and I just don't want that. I want top dollar for my work. This is not easy work. You can only do this for so long until your body starts breaking down. So you got to take advantage, and you want to get paid the most while you're able to do it. Pro number 2, and that is, if something else comes up, most times the homeowner is right there. Most times you have their phone number. You can get a hold of them very quickly. And most times, if you actually did your homework, you can anticipate problems and let the homeowner know ahead of time that stuff may come up, so they are expecting it. And you can give them a very rough estimate, so that way they don't have a heart attack when you're gifting a price. So like the toilet, if the drywall needs to be replaced, the subfloor needs to be replaced, guess what? They were expecting it, and you explained that to them. And they actually felt it. They lived with it. They understand when they receive that estimate, compared to working for a property manager who's not there, never seen it, never felt anything about it because they didn't have the issues, and obviously the homeowner didn't either. Pro number 3, word of mouth. Check this out, guys. When you work for homeowners and they like you, they're gonna refer you to their friends, to their neighbors, to anybody they ever meet in their lives. Yes. And if you find the type of homeowners that you want to work for, the ones that actually pay top dollar for your work, their network is usually about the same. Most of the people within their network circle are going to be about the same. They're going to have the same mentality. That's the easiest way to get into that circle, by having word of mouth. Property managers, not really, to be honest. Will they refer you to other property managers? I don't know, because I'm not a property manager. But I can tell you, I have never gotten a call from one property manager that referred me to somebody else. Most of the ones that called me, they actually found me online. Pro number 4, consistency. All right, check this out. A lot of the times when you work for a homeowner and they like you, you're going to be working for them for a long time. So a lot of the work in that house done is going to be by you. So if you did something inside a wall, you know exactly what it looks like inside that wall. If you fix something in the past, you know exactly what may happen in the future or may not happen. So you have history of that property. With property managers, a lot of the times, especially when you first work on rental properties, there has been a bunch of people behind you hacking away at the repair that you're trying to fix. Like, let me give you an example, a roof leak. And you're trying to fix it, but you don't know the history of that repair. So it makes it a lot harder for you to actually fix it properly, as cheaply as possible, especially if you do not know the history behind it. When working for homeowners, well, you do know that history, especially with customers you have been working for a long time. All right, guys, let's talk about the cons of working for homeowners. Con number 1, and that is, yes, you're gonna have to talk to a lot of people, because there are a lot of people out there that are not worth working for. So you gotta talk to them, you gotta give them an estimate. So that takes your time. And obviously that is going to be a con. Con number 2, a lot of homeowners want you to do an in-person estimate. For most jobs, I would say over 90% of the ones that I do not do in-person estimates. I can do most estimates over the phone. For bigger jobs, the ones that I charge a few $1,000s, And if they are close, then at that point I do give them an in-person estimate. But before I even show up to their houses, I give them a very rough estimate over the phone or text message, so that way I can just get a feeling of what this customer is like. If they start having palpitations because of my rough estimate, I know that's not the customer I want to work for, and I know that's not the type of customer I'm going to be wasting my time showing up in person to do an in-person estimate. Call number 3. Now some people are gonna be looking over your work. That's just part of the business. But if you do good work, that should not be a problem. And usually, in my experience, the type of customer that is going to be willing to pay you top dollar for your work is not going to be the type of customer that has the time to be looking over your shoulder. That customer is probably working out there making that money to pay you top dollar. They don't have time to be looking over your shoulder. So in my experience, I can tell you personally, the ones that pay me the most for my work, I would say over 90% of the time, they don't ever even check on my work. They just pay as soon as I send them the invoice. The only times that I actually have people looking over my work are usually those that are looking for a bargain, looking for the cheapest price. But like I said, if you do good work, you shouldn't have to worry about it. And I don't mind it, to be honest. I actually like teaching people the steps on how to fix whatever I'm fixing, because that tells the person that I know what I'm doing, and that's how you build up relationships as well. Because if you show up to do the work and then you leave, and the only interaction you have with your customer is just getting paid, it's going to be harder for them to remember you, compared to you show up, you actually walk them through all the steps to do the work, you chit chat with them, and then you technically become friends with your customer. They are more likely to remember you. Call number 4. All right, check this out. So a lot of the times when you do work, you want to stay in one single area because it saves some gas and then also saves time. But most times that is not possible. So when working for homeowners, you're going to be driving all over the place. And that is the main reason why I have a minimum charge. So that way I don't waste my time, especially in the small repairs. Because a lot of the times, a lot of people out there are going to call you to do a small repair, and they're expecting to pay you, $20-$40 for your time because it took 5 minutes. It doesn't work like that. It takes a lot more than 5 minutes to get to their house and all that. So that's why I have a minimum charge to mitigate that problem. Code number 5. All right, check this out, guys. This may apply to some people. It may not apply to most people out there. But guess what? Customer service is a lot more important when working for homeowners than it is to work for property managers, because you're going to be interacting with them personally. So you have to be friendly. You cannot be grumpy. You also have to look presentable. So if customer service and being friendly is not something that you want to do, working for homeowners, it's not going to work out for you. Because even though you do good work, if the homeowner doesn't like you, they're not going to hire you again. I'm not the most friendly person out there, but I can tell you, when I show up to a customer's house, I am their best friend because I act that way. And that's it, guys. Those are my personal experiences between working for property managers and working for homeowners. I live in a bigger city. I can tell you, mainly I work for homeowners. And property managers are, like I said, in my experience, especially in bigger cities, they're always looking for a deal. And for that reason, I do not work for them. I do work for one property manager that I have been working for many years. But I can tell you, the only time that she calls me is when somebody else is screwed up or somebody else didn't show up to work, and she wants to get it done, and she wants to get it done right because they're tired of going for the cheapest price out there. Anyways, guys, I hope you all enjoyed my video, and as always, if you have any questions, comment below, and I will see you next time.